Welcome to the Indie Music Room, a conversation with independent artists about writing, recording, performing, and promoting their original music. And now here's your host, Heather Kelly.
Hey everybody, you're listening to Heather Kelly with the Indie Music Room. I'm very excited to introduce to you this month of August, our Artists of the Month. It is called Latterday Saints, and they're all the way from Yonkers, New York. Welcome, guys. How you doing today?
Good, thank you.
Doing very well, very well. Thanks for having us, Heather.
Thanks for having us.
Great. Oh, this is going to be great. I've been looking forward to this ever since I heard your music and your submissions. So,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Why don't you each introduce yourself quickly and tell everybody what you do in the band, and then we'll go from there.
Sure.
Jason.
My name is Jason Fraina. I play the bass and I sing backup vocals.
Angelo.
Hi, I'm Angelo. I play lead guitar and sing backup vocals as well.
Great. Liam.
I'm McKiernan. I play rhythm guitar and sing backup vocals.
Will.
I play the drums.
All right. I love that. And I said Fudo. I'm so sorry.
Andreas.
Andreas. Yes, I almost called you Fudo. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Andreas. Sorry.
We call him that sometimes.
What do you do?
I am the lead singer guitarist, and I am also pushing really hard for Will to join us with backups, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Why is it that drummers never want to sing backup? I've had that problem.
Well, I would love to, but if anyone hears my voice, the band will torpedo into.
I'm sure.
Not a good idea. It's not a good idea.
Why don't one of you give me a background about when you got together and how this whole band came together?
Liam.
Sure. We actually started back in high school. We were about 15 years old. Will and I went to elementary school together. And then we both started to pick up guitar around like 13 years old. A lot of it was due to the grunge scene and all that. And then Will knew Jay and Andreas and from his high school. So we all started to get together there and just shared like a mutual background of music and influences. And then played for about 15 years and then broke up in the early 2000s and then got back together once Will moved back from Los Angeles, and that's when we started to play with Angelo, and once Angelo started to join the band, that was he brought an entire other background of influences, a more sort of in like I would say 80s inspired rock, which is really kind of like helped set the tone of what this current record is.
Yeah, I listened to this and I listened to about 30 seconds of each song when you submit it. And I just was super excited because I'm from I graduated in the 90s, but that kind of music really resonates with me. And I was super excited to have you. It seems like, Liam, do you write most of the songs?
It's a collaboration, definitely, but I would say I probably give the bones of the songs to the band, and then everybody adds their parts and puts their stamp.
Liam's being modest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it does take a collaboration, that's for sure. Why don't you tell me about some of your experiences when you've been playing recently? Was it any great stories, or do you have any crazy,
Well, like Liam was saying, if you don't mind, I'll hop in. We have kind of reformed somewhat recently, so it's almost like we're trying to pay our dues over again.
Okay.
And the first lot of shows that we had was at a place in Montauk, New York, called the Montauk Music Festival.
Okay.
So it was kind of instead of just easing our way in, dipping our toes into the pool, we kind of just jumped in head first. But we've been playing together for so long. We've known Angelo for so long that we were able to kind of keep it together,
right,
and keep it tight and have it fun. So it was really just for me. It was exciting to feel all those nerves over again that I haven't felt in a while. That are outside what my normal job has been recently, which is just being dad.
Yeah.
So I got to kind of
that's important.
Oh, it is super important, Heather. Absolutely. But I got to kind of do a little something for myself and rock out.
That's so much fun.
Yeah. So the first lot of shows for me was exciting. It was 4 shows in 2 days.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
That's
Yeah, never again.
Never again. Are you hauling all your own equipment as well?
Oh yeah.
For the most part, yeah.
That's
Well, the cool thing was the very last stage that we played was like at the Montauk Lighthouse with like the ocean behind us, big screens on either side of the stage. It was like one of the bigger stages that we've ever played on. So to see that and have that sort of be like the last show of the weekend was a very cool experience to look at and see our families and this sea of people. Cool.
Oh, you guys have to be proud of that. That's great. Why don't you tell me, what is your recording process? So you write, it's a collaborative, when you're writing the songs, it's a collaborative work. What do you guys do with your recording? Do you guys do it all by yourself, or do you go to a record label? Or tell me about that.
Angelo, why don't you take that?
This time around, I'm sitting in my little recording studio. So basically for this record, we would get together and either at Jay's house or Will's house or outside somewhere, or my house. And we would kind of just jam on the songs acoustically and try to flesh them out that way. And once they're pretty much, written out, not complete yet, we bring it into the studio and we just start layering everything. And we lay down the basic parts of the song first. And then, like Will said, everyone just kind of layers their parts on top. Will tracks his drums in his own studio at his house. And we kind of just, with the brilliance of and the convenience of technology nowadays, we're able to just send tracks and files over the internet, and we just layer them in, and everything just kind of builds on top of each other. But yeah, all the parts, everything was recorded rather at our own houses, whether it was Will's house or my house. A lot of that was due to COVID. We kind of were limited as to our options, but luckily enough, we're fully equipped where we don't need to go to a big professional studio and spend a ton of money on studio time.
Right.
So that's kind of how this one went. Who knows how the next album's gonna go, what the process is gonna be, but this method worked for us. It took a little while, but
sure, you work out the kinks.
Yeah,
it was that, but it was also just that, like I said, COVID, and it slowed everything down. I'm sure we would have been done with this a little bit sooner had we been able to get together as often as we liked, especially early on during COVID.
Right.
We really held back a lot.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was almost as if we were demoing the song like multiple times until we got the finished product. Because then, and then obviously, a traditional process, once you're in the room together, if you hear something in real time, it's like a quick fix, or you can talk about it and kind of flesh out the part there. But this was more, we'd hear a demo back, Angelo would send out a mix, and then we'd go, oh, like maybe we should do this, like guitar stop here, the drums should do a little thing here. And then it's almost like you have to go back in, start it over again. So that, I think COVID definitely had its impact. It definitely had an impact for sure.
Yeah.
Are you guys within the same proximity of each other so you can get together, or are you kind of all over the place?
Yes, we're very close to each other, proximity-wise as well.
Speaking of COVID, did you guys try to do any of those online shows during COVID? And did you have any feedback if you did?
No, we actually, for the most part, we just focused on getting this album done, especially knowing that we had this liability of not having the in-house time with all of each other. So, and there was a lot of working things out on our own. And then, somebody's working on one thing, someone's working on something differently, but they don't know it yet. We bring it together. Oh, that didn't really mesh well.
Right.
So it was a lot of playing and exploring, and it was a fun but frustrating process.
It can be. It sometimes seems like it's going very slowly, even though you're making progress every day. But I understand that. You guys have got a lot of notoriety recently with some great reviews. I read a couple. One was from Media Mecca, and the other was from
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus. Yes. I read both of those, and I got super excited for you guys. Being a musician myself, I'm like, they are on their way. This is going to be amazing. So,
thank you.
So excited for you. Yeah.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's great. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about how you came up with the song Coffin?
Take it away, Liam.
That's you, Lee.
That one I feel was more of a, excuse me. We wanted sort of like just like a straight ahead, stripped down sort of just like rocker. And I feel like I'm like a big fan of toms in like verses and things like that. So Will sort of started to do this kind of chuggy tom thing. And the single notes of the guitars, it just kind of gave it like a dirty club vibe, I thought.
Yeah.
It's, something you'd hear in like a New York club. And then once we started to get to but then we also wanted the chorus to be like very like a lot of harmonies and like tambourine. And we just were like, let's just throw it all in there on this one and see how it goes. And then one night, I think Angelo and I, for like hours, just kept layering harmony over harmony over harmony. And then when it came together, it was just like, this sounds great. And like the juxtaposition between the verse and the chorus was really, exciting. And when it came out, I was like, okay, this seems to be a standout to me.
Oh yeah, it was big. It was a big sound. And that's, I remember when I first came into the studio to start putting some tracks down, I hadn't heard yet what these guys were up to, again, because we're not all there together. And I remember, I think it was that song in particular, I put the headphones on and they had me walk up to the mic and they're like, okay, so let's go. Let's see what you can do here. And I actually I had to take a breath and sit down on the couch while listening, because I was like, whoa, this just sounds so incredible. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about that memory. And also I was intimidated at that point. I was like, oh, geez, you guys don't even need me on this. Like, this is done as far as I'm concerned. But that song in particular, I mean, it happened actually with a few other songs as well. And I think for me, that was a sign, that was like a tremendous thing to say to myself, wow, we're already like on the right path, and it's like super powerful and elicits something from me. And we've gotten like maybe a third of the way to this point, and we haven't even played with it much yet.
Right. You knew it was going to be a good one.
Oh yeah.
Great. Well, with that said, we're going to go ahead and listen to Coffin. And when we get back, we've got a lot more to talk about.
Just like before in our life.
that was Coffin again by Latterday Saints. You're right about that song. It does build. It's got great harmonies, great guitar riffs. Bravo. Great song.
Thanks, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah. What is it that I hear about New Alternative? Is that a movie, or tell me what that was all about?
Yeah, so that's a movie that I made based on a book that I wrote several years ago that's inspired by this band. Like Liam said earlier, we've been friends forever. We kind of came together musically in the grunge era of the 90s. And that just time period just informed me completely, both as an artist, as an individual. And at the same time, my sister, around the same time, I conflated a little bit in the story, but my sister, who was younger than me, tried to pursue gangster rap, which is very sort of outside the realm of her world, right? But in a way, a kind of more punk rock. So I thought, that's kind of a nice basis for a story, kind of a band pursuing, the grunge thing, trying to become the next Nirvana, and this girl trying to become the next big gangster rapper. So that was the basis of it. So the movie itself, when we made it, incorporates songs that we wrote and performed many, many years ago. 20 years ago. And it's on the soundtrack along with amazing bands like Mudhoney, Lisa Loeb, Sebadoh, Failure. And the soundtrack got picked up and released worldwide. It was part of Record Store Day 2019. And the record label that put that out, I remember this very vividly. They came to the movie premiere, and after the show, they're like, wow, it's hearing we were called the Latterday Saints before, hearing the Latterday Saints in that big theater, man, they sound great. Are they signed? And they asked me, are you signed? We're like, no, but we've always wanted to be. He's like, do you want to be? Like, we'll sign you.
Wow.
Like, yeah. So our teenage dream of getting signed by a record label kind of took the circuitous route and happened 25 years later in our 40s. And so we're kind of living our dream right now.
Very circular. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that record label is Rhyme and Reasons?
Rhyme and Reason.
Rhyme and Reason.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So what do they do? What does the label do for you then? They distribute your music for you? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So the record is distributed on every platform imaginable worldwide, both digitally and on vinyl. Right. So, it's mainly up to us to promote. There's a smaller label, but it's everywhere. So, that in and of itself is an amazing feat.
Yeah, all you got to do is Google Latterday Saints. I'm telling you, people, you got to look these guys up. They're amazing. So here's the next song we're going to talk about. You wrote another song called You. What's this one about?
You is probably, I would say, somebody who's in a situation that they no longer want to be in. I would say is probably the best way that I would describe that, like if it's like a log line for that song. But this was another one that was sort of during the writing process. The opening riff is sort of that melodic, single pick thing, and having a really hard time kind of cracking the code on the drums for that one. Mm-hmm. And then Will started to kind of just play like a groove to it, and it gave it sort of like a nice, groovy vibe. And then Angelo and Jay added their, leads and bass elements, and it just, that one felt like, oh, this could become like another single sort of song. And then Andreas' vocal on it is top notch. It might be my favorite vocal that he does in the whole album. So
another goodie. Very good. Let's take a quick listen to You by Latterday Saints. And when we come back, we're going to find out a lot more about this great band. Here we go with You.
Changing, oh, for now.
probably mention That Was You by Saturday Saints. I should probably mention, what is the title of your new album?
The title of the album is Anadonia.
Okay.
And it's the word means lack of pleasure, the inability to experience joy. And we thought it was a little apropos for the time that we recorded the album. During COVID, it was very frustrating. It just seemed like, I forget who came up with the word or who said it, but it just seemed like it was fitting given everything that was going on.
Right. Well, it's a cool name. I actually didn't know what it meant until you just explained it. So thank you for your explanation. I think it's.
Can I add something?
But
Actually that word, if I'm not mistaken, does mean that, what he said, it does mean the inability to experience pleasure. But I think it's supposed to be like more, to elaborate, I think it's supposed to mean something like the inability to experience pleasure while doing something or experiencing something that you should be having, that should be pleasurable.
Right.
So it's almost like a little more, I think when you say it like that, it just sounds like even a little more like almost like painful and like something that I think people could relate to, especially with this current climate.
Right.
It's a tough world out there right now for a lot of people who are suffering.
Right. Why don't we talk a little bit about your guys' schedules, how people can find you and your links, and any promotions you have coming up or shows?
We have a show tonight, actually.
You do.
At a really cool brewery locally. It's in the town of Elmsford. It should be fun. We're playing with a close friend of ours. His name is Alex Cano. Great musician, great band. His band is like a well-oiled machine. They've been going hard for the past 3 or 4 years, almost nonstop. And he was nice enough to get us on this bill with him to share the stage.
Great.
So that's what we have lined up right now. There's a lot of stuff in the works, nothing confirmed. A couple of festivals, other shows, one-off shows as well. Nothing really to announce, unfortunately, other than the show tonight.
Listen, I just don't want to confuse the audience, because when this podcast
this is not going to air today.
You're talking about will have been long gone.
Right.
Well, I'm sure we did good, right?
It'll be in retrospect. It was July 2nd, but now it's August. So yeah.
So is that okay to say, like, well, we just recently played a show with Alex Cano at Captain Lawrence Brewery?
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. You guys, you got some videos out. Why don't you tell me about your video process and what do you guys, how you put them together?
We're actually currently working on a video for one of our songs called Crash, with the premier skateboarding team of Egypt, if you can believe it.
Egypt?
Yeah, it's already there's this thing happening in the skateboarding community with this song, or it's strange, this underground thing happening. And they picked up on it, and I'm friends with one of the heads of the team, and not only is he a terrific skateboarder, but he's a wonderful filmmaker. His name is Yassine Kaptein, and the team is called Skate Impact. They're the first skate shop ever in Egypt, and they're solely responsible for the skateboarding scene there. And he really was drawn to this idea of skateboarding crashes, right? And I'm like, we're using this lyric to crash to coincide with this motif of skateboarding crashes. And that should hopefully be done in mid-July. So by the time this podcast comes out, maybe we could link to it. It should be out. We're all really looking forward to it.
Yeah, make sure when you do get that completed that you send it my way, and I'll get it put up on the page following your podcast. So that will be fun. Absolutely. And I'm sorry, when you said them crashing, that I have the bad tendency to laugh when people fall. I think I'm going to do that video.
With you there.
Oh, what a concept.
Yeah,
and isn't it strange who picks up on your music? Egypt? I mean,
totally. We have a huge following in Cairo now. It's unbelievable.
Who'd have thunk?
That is crazy. That is so crazy. Well, speaking
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
We also just did an interview for Shark Radio, 94.3 Shark Radio, Everything That Rocks in Long Island, with Orlando. And that went really well. It seems we're getting like kind of a following that's growing in Long Island, which is great. A lot of different radio stations have been kind of putting our stuff on rotation. I know in Boston, they reached out to us saying that they had us on rotation. William, there was another one that yesterday that reached out to you. Was it Hot Wax or?
We're getting spins on a number of online radio stations like Hot Wax Radio. The New Music Food Truck was really pushing us, and a few others. Bulldog Radio, Boston Rocks, I believe.
Yeah.
So it's great. We
just got to close the gap between the East Coast now and Egypt.
That's a long gap.
Yeah, a little bit closer. Well, we'll get you over here in the Midwest too. That's for sure. So,
love to.
Awesome.
Speaking of the video Crash, why don't we go ahead and listen to the track Crash, and then we will wrap up with a few afterthoughts. Here we go with Crash by Saturday Saints.
I've seen that face many times before. Your daily coat as you head into the door. I crashed into you in the dead of night. Head still pounding, but I feel alright. You crashed right through me as you walked right through the door. So my silence means more than I can ever say. A protest that you'll never hear anyway. You crashed into me in the dead of night. Tried to avoid it, but you're right inside. I crashed right through you as my body hit the floor. Crashed into me like a heart attack. I'm ripped wide open and I'm starting to cry. Hurt so bad like it never did before. Feel so stupid, I'm so beat up and sore. I'm tired and I'm reckless more than ever before. Contemplating just walking through the door. So I'm glad. You've seen this place many times before. The words cut deeper with every single pour. I crash into you in the dead of night. I'm still pounding, but I feel alright. Crash right through me as I wanna blood through the door. Crash into me like a heart attack. I'm ripped wide open and I'm starting to cry. Hurt so bad like it never did before. Feel so stupid, I'm so beat up and sore. I'm tired and I'm reckless more than ever before. Contemplating just walking through the door. Right on cue, right on cue. Everything I'll ever do is right on cue. It's overdue. Overdue. Crash under the point of day. It's overdue. Crash into me like a heart attack. I'm ripped wide open and I'm starting to cry. Hurt so bad like it never did before. Feel so stupid, I'm so beat up and sore. I'm tired and I'm reckless more than ever before. Contemplating just walking through the door. So crash.
That was Crash. Again, all the songs you heard today are going to be on the Anadonia record. That's going to be released mid-July. Is that correct?
Oh, it was released early July. It's already out there.
Oh, it is mid.
Yeah, going out July 1st.
We're doing August podcast. Sorry about that to my fans. I seem to forget This is a early morning podcast, just so you know, no excuses. But for musicians, you're not always quite awake yet.
So true.
Yes, that's so true. Okay, shoot me some links that people can find you, and we'll make sure to put them on our websites as well.
Saturday Saints Music on Instagram. That's one that we like to update regularly. Do we have a regular URL?
Our website is SaturdaySaintsMusic.com.
Okay.
We're on Facebook as well, Saturday Saints.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok.
We're not on TikTok. We're kind of hesitant to jump on that bandwagon.
We are on TikTok. Saturday Saints Music. Same thing as Instagram.
Do we
We're
have any
still
content
developing
on
a
it?
dance.
Yes, we absolutely do.
Nice. All right.
I thought I saw TikTok.
So Will doing fancy dances.
All I do is promote this band.
Yeah. I've also watched several of your live performances that were sent to me, and you guys are very enthusiastic on stage. You've got great stage presence. As a whole, the whole project is solid. You're all very talented. The vocals are great. The songwriting's great. I just can't congratulate you enough. I'm super excited for your future and see where things go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope that you stay in touch with me. Make sure to get me that video. And then with any future releases you have, we'll just come back and do this again.
We'll be here.
Any last thoughts, you guys?
Thank you so much for the time. We're really excited for everybody to hear the album. It was a lot of fun, and we look forward to playing it live.
You've been listening to the Indie Music Room with Heather Kelly. Be sure to listen every Saturday and Sunday right here on FortDodgeRadio.com and subscribe for all our past and upcoming shows. The Indie Music Room is a production of FortDodgeRadio.com.